Hi, Joy here again, and I would like to start this video with a small announcement. Oh yes, this week I was asked to do an interview for Somerset Live, which is a local online news site, and I was asked about, because of running the out nights, and they wanted to get some press coverage of that, and also find out some experiences about the LGBT sort of lifestyle and upbringing and stuff like that. And I did the interview. I actually did the interview over email. And I did it with somebody else who's also involved in out. And they wanted to get like different perspectives. So that's really exciting, and I've read it, and there is a mistake. At the top, it says it categorizes me as a gay man, which, that's not correct because I'm not a man. So that was funny. The rest of the article is completely correct. They use the correct pronouns and stuff like that. My pronouns she and her. Although I also am comfortable with they and their, them, and everything in the article is what I've said. As I expected, the reporter actually did cherry pick some of the things that I'd said and some of the things that the other person had said, and I kind of expected that. So I gave these really long-ass answers just to make sure that they had enough to work with. But yeah, anyway, I'll put a link to the article in the description below, so you can all read that. So today's video is about abbreviations. So currently we have LGBT as the recognised abbreviation for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, but that's not the whole story. That's not the whole issue. There was controversy because once the T got added for trans people, then all of the other people wanted representation who exist outside those labels, but they're still marginalised. So, for example, the Q was added for people who are questioning, or people who just go by the term queer, or yeah, and then the I was added to represent intersex people, and then the A was represented of the asexual, agender, and aromantic people, and then there was another A for allies, and then there was another Q, and then a P for some reason, and then a 2 for two-spirits, and then a question mark, and a smiley face, and a thing, and a this, and a that, and a... It became a bit of a clusterfuck. What we ended up with was this alphabet soup of abbreviation, and the problem is each letter added kind of devalues the meanings of the whole, because nobody really understands unless you're in the group itself or part of this community itself. Not many people know what the other letters stand for, and it's kind of difficult to find people who even understand as much as LGBT. So yeah, I mean, especially straight cis people. So yeah, it's a problem because you've got to remember that abbreviations only function is to save time, and if you have to stop and look these things up, then you're not saving time. So it's actually really impractical. Or possibly someone trying to cheat at Scrabble. So yeah, general terms like gay community, queer community, stuff like that, some people aren't too comfortable with that. My friend, who's one of the trustees of Queer Alternative, told me that at one of their meetings they just threw their hands up and they're like, right, well, wouldn't it be easier just to say not straight? This is the not straight community. Of course, that's not politically correct and we can't use that either. So one solution that seems to be the overall purveying sort of solution that people are using is the one that the college used when I was there, which was to add a plus. So it's LGBT plus or LGBTQ plus, and that includes everyone else who is marginalised, is not cisgender or heterosexual, but you know, it is inclusive and it does allow for allies, and people generally do understand what the term means. The other, well, one of the problems is using a blanket term like queer does cause negative problems for some people because it has a history of pejorative use by homophobes and by transphobes. So despite the efforts to reclaim that word, or any word, the problem is words don't exist on their own. Words have context attached to them and meaning attached to that context. So it's perfectly fine for me to say the queer community, the queer alternative. You know, I can freely use that word, but somebody else probably shouldn't use that word because they're going to abuse the use of that word. So, one other example I found of trying to get around this problem is the acronym SAGA, S-A-G-A, which means sexuality and gender acceptance, which is rather nice. I like it. It's also inclusive, generally unproblematic, except for the fact that people are now stuck in their ways of saying LGBT. And people don't adapt to change well. It's one of those things that could work if enough people agreed to it. But it does, you know, you have to make people agree to it. And that's kind of problematic in itself. So I guess the resolution here is try and find what's comfortable for the most amount of people. Personally, I'm gonna have to stick with using the plus, just because more people know what that is. But I do really like the idea of using saga. It also kind of sounds a bit like an epic adventure quest novel. Oh, this is a saga because it's split into 3 parts. So you know, it could catch on in the future, maybe. So yeah, that's all I have to say about this particular topic, about the abbreviations. And I will see you next time with some more fun, sort of in-depth topics. Bye!